Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
The Stock Movers Podcast, your roundup of companies making moves in the stock market, harnessing the power of Bloomberg data.
Let's take a look at some stocks on the move this week. In the week that was, a little bit of a crazy one and some volatility. Emily Grafeo has the hard task of keeping track of it all. She's Bloomberg News cross-asset reporter, and she's joining us in studio. We got to start with the number one performing stock in the S&P 500 this week, Newmont.
This is so emblematic of the safe haven asset that gold was this week. Mm-hmm. In a week where stocks were extremely volatile, Treasury bonds didn't quite work as that safe haven asset that they typically are expected to. Gold kept hitting record high after record high. Gold miner Newmont actually had its best week since 1998.
That's nuts.
What?
That's nuts.
What are we talking about?
Should I go into my jewelry box and sell my gold?
And start, I mean, it was...
Should I?
I
know. You think about, that's from an old boyfriend. I'm not going to wear it anyway. I'm getting rid of it.
Excuse me, I want to hear this story.
Don't you? I don't know what it is with guys and girls. Like anything I've owned before my husband. I mean, it's been a long time.
You kept?
Well, there's like maybe one or two. He's like I can't. No.
I don't think I've gotten gold.
Love this.
I'm young. The guys are young. I've gotten like silver. So I'm like, I get rid of this.
You sure it's on platinum? No. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, continue.
As long as it's not uranium, right?
Right. Yeah. No, you wouldn't want to put that on your skin.
We talked about uranium earlier this week, so that's why I bring it up.
Uranium jewelry?
No, uranium stocks.
Got
stocks and ETFs.
I wasn't sure where you were going.
Carol, when Emily Grafeo is announced, we're always talking stocks. Okay, it's like she goes cross asset.
We also get a little cuckoo.
She goes cross asset. She does ETF. She does everything.
I know. You know, Newmont is kind of it's cross asset. It is a stock, but it's representative of
absolutely
one of those assets that did really well this week. Anyway, it was up 8% Friday, up 24% on the week. It ended the week with an upgrade over at UBS. So they hiked their price target both for Newmont, the stock, and also for gold. And they said that the macro backdrop for gold is increasingly more supportive. So,
all right, let's go to Nvidia.
Okay. Nvidia, I'm going to go
also a top performer for the week overall.
It was a top performer over the week, but it was up on Monday. It was down on Tuesday. It was up 18% on Wednesday. Then it was down 6% Thursday. It finished Friday.
It's like a roller coaster.
It's really a roller coaster. I mean, this is a stock that everyone watches. So not only is it trading on its own fundamentals, but it's also trading like the poster child for how are risk assets doing today.
Can I just say it's down 17%
year to date.
Yeah, 17%
I think
lower.
we all forgot about the DeepSeek news that happened before tariffs. But I have heard I've seen a few notes where analysts mention like, well, don't forget about the fact that all of these questions about the impetus for spending on AI and, you know, how much demand is there really going to be for AI post DeepSeek?
I mean, there are so many questions about for the company this year. You mentioned DeepSeek. There's the China, everything happening with China. And then, of course, there's also, like you said, demand when it comes to U.S. companies and the reports that we've gotten about U.S. companies pulling back on data centers.
Yeah.
You forgot the biggest stress point.
What is it?
What will be Jensen's next leather jacket?
No, it's going to be a leather jacket.
It's going to be a leather jacket. But what's wild is one of the best performing in the S&P, so up around a little bit more than 17% for the week overall. It's still down 17% year to date, which is just reminds you how rough a year it's been for us.
Right. And it ended the week positive, but just like the S&P 500, there were a lot of twists and turns. So you wouldn't expect that we would have. It doesn't feel like we ended the week up, even though we did.
You mentioned the end of the week. We were all looking forward to the end of the week because the big bank earnings started. And it's safe to say the one that we always want to see what they're doing and what their CEO is saying is JPMorgan.
That's right. That stock was up on the week. It was up 12%. This is the biggest U.S. bank. And it was interesting because in their earnings, they had record equity markets revenue. It rose 48% to a record $3.81 billion. This wasn't even counting the trading of this week because this was the prior quarter.
That's a good point.
So I thought that was an interesting tidbit. I'm sure that those equities traders made a lot more this week. And then, of course, Jamie Dimon, CEO atop of JPMorgan, he is pretty vocal about his views on the economy, and he struck a cautious tone. He also said he expects a, quote, kerfuffle in the U.S. Treasury market that would prompt a Fed intervention.
Which made me think about the book Knuffle Bunny. Did you ever read that?
Oh, yeah. There's a little statue.
It's a great kid's book.
There's a Knuffle Bunny statue at the library in Park Slope.
I love Knuffle Bunny.
How cool is that?
Not a kerfuffle, but it's a Knuffle Bunny.
We have Goldman coming up next week, so that's another one that our Bloomberg listeners are very interested in.
Mo Willems. Remember, Mo Willems is the author.
I love Mo Willems. All right, Emily, thank you so much. Emily Grafeo, Bloomberg News cross-asset reporter.
The Stock Movers Podcast from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.